Hey, que la que hay, mi amigo? It's Rocky here from SpeakSpanishFaster.com. And in today's video, I want to answer an important question that I received from a student. And that question was, how can I learn Spanish at home on my own? Don't I have to live in a Spanish-speaking country to really become fluent in Spanish? Now, if you watched my last video called How to Become Fluent in Spanish, you'll notice that none of the methods or strategies that I revealed to you required you to move to a Spanish-speaking country. Now, the myth that you have to live in a Spanish-speaking country to become fluent in Spanish is simply not true. Let me explain. So early on, when I began helping people learn Spanish, I'll be honest, I used to think the same thing. I used to think that one could only master a language by moving to a country that spoke that language. That wasn't until I actually lived in a Spanish-speaking country. I used to live in La República Dominicana, Dominican Republic, and I helped many American students mostly. They were there studying abroad, and I helped many of them with their Spanish. Now, one thing that I noticed was probably around only like 2% of them actually would become fluent. And this was after like 6 months of being there. So what was the issue? Well, the issue was that many that would come to the Dominican Republic, or I assume any Spanish-speaking country, they still gravitate towards their English-speaking friends or English-speaking people. You know, as humans, we want to be around people that are similar to us. So even in these foreign settings, we will subconsciously be attracted to the areas and the activities where there are people like us, because that's where we are most comfortable. So even though these students lived in the Dominican Republic, they were still speaking English most of the time. And even though they were in study abroad programs where they lived in Spanish-speaking households, they still didn't become fluent. But this isn't a shock to me, nor should it be a shock to you. I mean, think about how many foreigners there are in America that have been here for years and still can't speak English. Usually it's because they move here to provide better lives for their families, and they find themselves working all day, every day with people just like them, and they never really had the opportunity to actually learn that language. They move to neighborhoods where there are people just like them, and they're never really forced to learn the language. English in this instance for people in America, but Spanish for those students that travel to or move to Spanish-speaking countries. Now, my grandmother, she's from Puerto Rico, and she lives in North Jersey. She lives in Union City. Now, if you walk around her neighborhood, you'd see that it's like 95% Latino. Now, that's just an estimated guess, but that's what I would say. And everyone there speaks Spanish. They could be white, lighter than me. They could be super dark, black, skin color doesn't matter. Everyone there speaks Spanish. They're from different Spanish-speaking countries. Now, some of these people, and I remember seeing some of these people, some of the neighbors, since I was a little kid. And years later, these people still can't speak English. Why? Because they never were forced to actively learn it. Now, the last example I'll give you, I have a friend that lived in Spain for 10 years. He's really an introvert. He doesn't get out much. And yeah, he lived in Spain for 10 years, and he still doesn't know a lick of Spanish, still to this very day. So this belief that you have to move to a Spanish-speaking country hinders so many people from actually being able to learn to speak Spanish. That's because it's not a logical option for many people to get up and move to a Spanish-speaking country. So they just give up because they assume like, okay, well, I can't move to a Spanish-speaking country. There's no use in me trying to learn Spanish. It's never going to happen. It's impossible. So they give up. Well, now you know that moving to a Spanish-speaking country doesn't guarantee you're going to be fluent. And more importantly, not moving to one doesn't mean you won't learn Spanish. In fact, I've helped thousands of students learn Spanish. All right, so you can learn Spanish right where you are right now. Now, don't get me wrong. If you have the opportunity to live in a Spanish-speaking country, of course that can speed up your learning. But it doesn't happen just by you moving there. Moving there isn't the trick. Being there isn't the trick. The trick is being surrounded by Spanish and being forced to actively work on your Spanish. If you're there and you don't work on your Spanish, you're not going to improve. The key word here is actively. It's something I always talk about on this channel. At the end of the day, you have to actively try to improve your skills, whether you are living here or in Mexico or in Spain or in Costa Rica, wherever you're at. Now, in my last video, like I mentioned, I talked about what you can do to become fluent. I'll put a link to that video in the comments so that you can quickly check out that video if you missed it. And that leads me to another thing that I wanted to address, another comment I received from a viewer. This was a little criticism, which I don't mind it because it happens. So the viewer pretty much asked me, why am I teaching a Learn Spanish channel in English? That's not how you learn Spanish. And this mindset usually leads to another huge mistake I see students make when trying to learn Spanish. They try to run before they can walk. Imagine a beginner student right now in Spanish being thrown into the Dominican Republic or Spain, where people talk pretty fast and they talk at a level that's more advanced than your level. Look, you can't just wish your way to fluency. Doing this would probably take you longer to learn the language, like years longer, especially if you weren't actively learning. Think about it like this. Imagine if you took a kindergarten student and put him in the 5th grade. He wouldn't just learn faster because he's in a higher grade. In fact, he'd probably never learn, or it would take him super long to learn because he wouldn't have the foundation or the capability to learn what is being taught. On this channel, yes, I'm training you to speak Spanish better and faster. So of course, sometimes I'm going to go over grammar and Spanish words, but in reality, I'm trying to show you how to learn for yourself because that's the only way to truly become fluent. I know you've probably heard the saying, give a man a fish and feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. I'm trying to teach you how to fish here. That's done by me showing you tips and tricks in your native language so that you can understand how to use them in a foreign language. Because let's be honest, my one video a week on YouTube, whether it's in Spanish or English, isn't going to make you fluent. What will make you fluent is having a proven plan, a strategy, knowing what you need to do, and executing that plan every single day consistently. As I mentioned a few times on this channel, which one reason I've mentioned it so much is because I'm excited and I'm loving it, but I have a language coach that helps me with Italian. Guess what? We've never spoken Italian once on the call, and I'm speaking way more Italian than I did just a few weeks ago. That's because he's teaching me how to fish the same way that I'm teaching you, and that leads me to my final point. Sorry if this video is more of a rant, but it's an important rant. I truly recommend investing in training to improve your Spanish. Sure, there are many free resources out there, but because they are free, there's no skin in the game. It doesn't force you to stay focused and consistent. It's similar to a gym membership. You can join a gym, but do you think you get better results just going there by yourself? Or do you think you do better with a trainer pushing you, staying on top of you every single day, telling you what to do? Probably with the trainer, right? And you won't slack either because you invested your hard-earned money. It's that fact mentally that will push you to stay focused and stay committed. And it will also significantly shorten your learning curve. So whether you get our programs at SpeakSpanishFaster.com or you get a language coach or whatever it is that you do, if you can ever invest in any type of training, I guarantee you will get far better results than if you keep trying to learn for free or from free resources. Those are good, don't get me wrong, but mentally, it's just different when you're invested into something. I hope this video helps, and if you're interested in learning more about how you can learn to speak and comprehend Spanish better, faster, be sure to subscribe here on our Speak Spanish Faster channel. Thank you.